Wubba lubba dub dub. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? All right, I want to talk about Rick and Morty real quick, but it's mostly just about kind of um, what the masses like instead. And by masses, I mean like, I don't know how to put this without making me sound like a pretentious douchebag, but I'm going to try my best because I don't think I'm better than anyone. I don't think I'm better than anyone else, or my taste is, the best in the world, or I have champagne taste when it comes to movies and shows. I like my fair share of garbage shows. In no way am I calling Rick and Morty a garbage show. I'm not. Um my main thing I actually just want to focus, it's not really Rick and Morty what I want to focus on. It's more just this is the prime example that I thought of, and I was like, let me zone in on this, right? So I feel like, and this is way back when, right? So this is like 2013, 2015 ish. I think people as individuals have certain tastes, certain likes, certain dislikes, right? Um, and people as individuals will probably have champagne taste in music, movies, art, etc., right? But when people get clumped into groups, when people get clumped into um, a mass amount of people, I feel like all of their brains just collectively turn off and they get kind of peer pressured into saying that this certain thing is cool because hundreds of thousands of other people are saying it's cool. Now, does it make it correct just because a lot of people like it? No. Hundreds of thousands of people could say, oh, the majority rules. That means this thing's a popular thing. That's not how my brain works. And I feel like, how do I put this? When Rick and Morty came out with the Get Swifty episode, right? You would think that this is like some grand slam Emmy award winning fun roller coaster episode because so many people have quoted it. So many people said, yeah, take a shit on the floor, get swifty, right? I quite frankly, and I'm probably going to get flack, I don't think it's that great of an episode. I honestly think it's just whatever. And the show me what you got is always quoted. Get swifty is always quoted. But I feel like a lot of audience members nowadays, they just kind of have like, okay, a lot of audience members, when they're in droves and masses amounts of people, they have poor tastes. That's what I'm trying to say. But when these people individually tell you what they like, yeah, okay, wow, you actually got some great taste in entertainment, in TV, and in movies, right, in music. But when people collectively get together as a mass amount of audience, they tend to just go, oh, I like this because a lot of other people like it. It's not because you genuinely like it. Now, granted, there are a lot of people out there that probably genuinely like the Get Swifty episode. Right. Okay. But it's like when you're in the movie theater, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right? So it's like in the movie theater. You're watching a movie, gets to a funny part, right? The whole theater, I've done it too. The whole theater laughs, right? And you even chuckle with them. You're like, and you probably hit a fake laugh too, just not to feel left out. And you're like, But you ever like rewatch that movie at home by yourself or with a loved one, and then you're like, The same moment comes up in the movie where everyone laughed in the theater, and then it happens for you at your house and you don't laugh at it, and you're like, huh, it really wasn't that funny. That's the best explanation I have for it. That's the best way I can explain that. Okay? So you're just like, it really wasn't that funny. And that's how I feel like how when we're in an audience and we're a part of the audience, or we partake in something, a piece of entertainment that is collectively shared and agreed upon that, yeah, this was a good episode, or this was something good, this was a good piece of dialogue, everybody just turns their brains off and goes, yeah, man, this is awesome. This is an awesome episode. The one most annoying fucking thing and most egregious fucking thing an episode is Pickle Rick. Now, when everybody quotes this one saying, Pickle Rick, right? I genuinely watched the episode. I've watched it many times, just binging the series and rewatching it over and over. Because when a new season comes out, I like to rewatch the series and like build up to the new season as well. And I've watched Pickle Rick, I want to say a good 10, 15, 30 times now. And sometimes to me, the episode gets less and less and less funnier. Like, and you're probably thinking, but Eddie, you said it gets less funnier, which means you think it was really funny at one point. No. It was okay. It got a few chuckles out of me the first or second time and third, even fourth time I watched it. But after the 10th, 20th, 30th time, I'm like, I don't see the magic in this episode. I don't get it. Plus, it's directed by the same person that made fucking She-Hulk, so it's like now it even has a worse sour taste in my mouth. Then on top of that, she makes, I think, the therapist, Wong, she literally makes the therapist talk to Rick or explain to Rick and humble him and try and bring him down in some way. And people said, "Oh yeah, that was the writer of the episode self-insert." And I can definitely see it. I can definitely see it especially after She-Hulk. I can definitely fucking see it that she's trying to talk down to this really popular character that at the time when this episode came out, he was at the peak of his popularity. And it's like, I'm going to humble you and I'm going to talk you down. And it's like, okay, really bitchy undertones here. But the whole Selenia thing and the whose toilet did I come out of? The one part I really, really, really do like in the episode, and people are going to say, wow, that says a lot about you, is the part where he's slaughtering the rats. When that part is coming up, I get hyped. After that part is gone, I go right back down to where I was again with my anticipation and my excitement level. And I say, all right, we got to get back to this boring ass episode. Because that's what it really is to me. It's fucking boring. It's Rick turns himself into a pickle because he wants to avoid going to therapy. Okay? He could have just portaled somewhere. Like when you really start to break it down, like he could have done so many other things, but instead, no, I'm going to turn myself into a pickle. The smartest man in the universe is going to make himself vulnerable by turning himself into a pickle. Does anybody like remember when the cat was messing around with him? He almost literally fucking died. And he even said, "Oh, is this how I'm going to go? This is like the equivalent to Elvis dying on the toilet." But no, the show gives him a Deus Ex Machina by somehow creating a fucking storm, and then he gets shifted down into the sewer, and then I'm like, all right, word, I'm going to get to that part that I like. But when you break the episode down, it's like, dude, this whole episode's kind of stupid. But this was the one episode that really started the whole entire craze I want the Szechuan. I think it was that one. Was it that one? Yeah, the season 3, episode 1. I want my Szechuan sauce and this and that. I'm gonna get my Szechuan sauce, Morty, blah blah blah. 99, 100 more seasons. Then everybody harassed McDonald's. Oh, we want Szechuan sauce, and it's like, you guys really. Half of these people, like, that were probably cheering for the Szechuan sauce, were too young to even remember when Szechuan sauce was out. You know how I know that? I was born in 1997, right? I'm pretty sure Mulan came out, what, maybe, I could be wrong, a year earlier or maybe 2 years after I was born. But I was 2 fucking years old and Szechuan sauce came out. And people my age, the same age as me at the time, were going crazy over fucking Szechuan sauce. A sauce, mind you, they have never even tried in their fucking lives. So do you see what I'm saying? When people get together in groups as a collective mindset, they become unity, and they're like, oh, just one mind, one brain, through hundreds and hundreds of people. I want my Szechuan sauce. Like, bro, you've never even fucking tried Szechuan sauce. And even if you did, you probably don't fucking remember it, bro. I'll give it to the people who were born in like 1990, 1989. Yeah, you knew what Szechuan sauce was. But by the time Rick and Morty came out, you already lived your 20s, bro. 1989, right? 10 years later, it's 1999. So you're 10 years old. 10 years later, it's 2009. So you're 20 years old. 10 years later, it's 2019. So you're 30 years old. So you mean to tell me that you got into a show that was on Adult Swim in your late 20s? And people were going to be like, well, yeah, that was the crew, that was the target audience. No, the target audience was 18 to 20. Maybe possibly even 21, I want to say. But it had a young fan base, which is, I want to say, it had fans like as old as probably 15, 14. So if we're really going to be honest, it targeted teenagers and young adults, which was 14 to 21. So you're telling me that you got into Rick and Morty around like your mid-20s? And by the time, I want to say, season 3 came out, I could be wrong, it was either 2016 or 17 or maybe even 15. You want to sit here and tell me that you were losing your fucking mind over Szechuan sauce, and you were making yourself look like a fool, talking about Screaming Pickle Rick pushing 30? I don't think so, bro. And then people who were born in 97, like me, around that year, around that age frame, like, you're screaming about fucking Szechuan sauce. That something that, yeah, sure, maybe your parents took you to McDonald's and they got you chicken nuggets and they said, oh yeah, we'll take the Szechuan sauce. You've never tried it in your life, though. Or maybe you have eaten it in your life and you don't fucking remember eating it, but yet you're going to have this fucking craze. Like, you're going to go out there to McDonald's and harass McDonald's like you fucking ate it before just because Rick said, I want my Szechuan sauce. Go fuck yourself, bro. This is the problem I have with a fan base, though. This is the problem I have when people get together in groups and there's a collective fucking mindset. And they all act like, oh, this is the greatest thing. They don't say it's the greatest thing, but they act like it was the greatest thing they've ever heard in their lives. They act like, oh, this is the greatest quote I've ever heard in my life. And it probably goes back to Scarface days, too. Like, say hello to my little friend. But that was deserved. Scarface is up there as one of the best gangster movies of all fucking time. And I'm not comparing apples and oranges here, but, like, come on. And I know I always bring up wrestling, but today especially, There's a bunch of fucking smarks nowadays that they all get in this collective group and they say, "Oh my god, modern wrestling is so much better and it's so much more athletic." And then you got fans like me who grew up on Batista, who grew up on Undertaker in like his later years, who grew up on fucking Rob Van Dam, Rey Mysterio in his prime. Who's that coming up? Sky R-E-Y, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit. I understand the controversy over him. John fucking Cena in his prime, Edge, Randy Orton, and then all of a sudden, all these guys who don't know how to sell a fucking move are some of the greatest fucking wrestlers of all time. And it's like, or you don't believe that. And when you challenge them on it and you say you're retarded or you stop with this opinion because it's ridiculous, no, you don't understand. Like, and the reason why I'm talking about Rick and Morty so much is because I remember that craze. I lived through that craze. And it was utterly fucking ridiculous. And I avoided it for so long. I love the show now because my little brother got me into it and he was like, "Yo, why don't you try it out? Why don't you give it a shot?" He says, for the longest time, he goes, "I think you would like it. I think you would like it. I think you would like it. Give it a shot. Try it out." So he kept doing it to a point where, I said, fuck it. I'll cave in. I'll try it. I'll see if I like it. And I did. I liked it. But it's just the way that the fans were treating the show, and then you have to have a certain IQ to watch this show. It just turned me off. It's just like, this fan base is full of a bunch of fucking pretentious dickheads that think they're the smartest man in the world when really they're living in their fucking mom's basement and they don't know how to talk to a woman, but yet Rick is their, oh my God, I'm Rick. Bro, you're a bunch of fucking Mortys, bro. You go out in the world and you talk like that. You go, I don't think we should do this. And your boss at your job is Rick Sanchez telling you, shut the fuck up, Morty, and get to work. Now, I know when I say this, you're going to point the finger at me and say, but you're not a pretentious asshole. No, because I know for the longest time, every time there was the masses saying that this was the most popular thing, this is the greatest thing, I was always the one to critique it and be like, slow down, relax. It's not that great. What? Maybe you just don't know what you're talking about. Blah, blah, blah. I do know what I'm talking about. It's just not that great. Like, I'm sorry that all of you believe that this is one of the greatest things of all time to happen to God's green earth, but it's not, dude. I don't know what to tell you. Like, relax, bro. Get some better standards. Get some better taste, okay? I stand firmly on my opinion. I stand firm on my opinion, man. There's a lot of people that don't stand on business with their opinions nowadays. Now, when you got, like, say, in a room full of 10 people telling you, yo, you're thinking the wrong way, I bet you'll be whipped into shape and you'll change your tune. If I had 10, 15, 20 people in the same room as me telling me, no, the way you think is wrong, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something, bro. I would look at these 20 people and say, maybe you need to get your head out of your ass. Maybe you need to get checked. I'll debate every single one of you right now on why the way I think the way I do and why the way I believe in what I believe in. It's not my fault that when you think the way you do and then 5 people come along and say, yo, that's fucking wrong, you decide to change your tune and say, you know what? You know what? You guys are right. I guess I'm outnumbered here. That's some fucking Morty mindset. It's a Morty ass mindset, bro. When Rick knows he's right about something, does he ever back the fuck down? No, he's like, I'm gonna prove to you why you're such a dumbass. I'm gonna prove to you, scientifically prove to you as well at that why you're a stupid idiot. Okay? Why you're wrong in this department. Okay? Like, but yeah, this was kind of a short one today, and I feel like people as individuals have great taste. Okay, and whatever they like, people like what they like, but people as individuals have great taste in art and entertainment, bro. But when people get together in collective groups and then they come in droves and masses, I feel like they overhype the most simplest things or the most dumbest things. They say, "Oh, this is one of the best things, bro." Like, and we're gonna keep quoting it. We're gonna make sure that every single person knows that this is one of the most popular things going right now, and this is why you should watch it because we're all in the fucking street screaming, "Pickle Rick!" I remember, come on, bro. Do I even have to say it? The kid that went on top of the fucking counter at McDonald's. It's an infamous video. Kid that went on top of the counter at McDonald's screaming Pickle Rick like he was a pig squealing, Pickle Rick, Pickle Rick, I'm Pickle Rick. And then he gets down on the floor. He starts rolling around on this dirty ass crack infested floor. And he's like, I'm Pickle Rick, I'm Pickle Rick. I'm telling you, that would turn any Rick and Morty fan off. True Rick and Morty fan that's like, yeah, I like the show, but I'm not gonna go out there in public and act ridiculous like this. Like that's just you're just making me look bad for liking the show. I kind of don't want to watch the show now because you guys are making me look bad. And now, when you used to say I watch Rick and Morty was a cool thing to say, after that whole debacle and after the whole Szechuan sauce thing, I'm pretty sure because yeah, they brought it back for a weekend or a week or so, right? I remember that they brought it back for a period of time, and that was cool. But I'm pretty sure everybody was like, not a lot of people I bet bought the Szechuan sauce. You know how I know it wasn't a crazy movement because only I think one selective McDonald's brought the Szechuan sauce back. Not the entire franchise, not the entire chain, not the entirety of America's McDonald's brought Szechuan sauce back. I think it was just one, maybe 5, 10, I'll say at best. You can fact check me, but I'll say maybe 1 or 10 at best brought back the Szechuan sauce. 10 McDonald's, maybe 1 or 10 McDonald's out of 50 states, and there's hundreds or maybe thousands of McDonald's within the country of America alone. I don't know. What does that say? What does that say? It means that when these people got in masses and droves and they harassed the company, probably not harassed them, but because of the popularity the show the McDonald's got because of Rick and Morty. And then there was a whole bunch of people online saying, yo, McDonald's, you should bring Szechuan sauce back. McDonald's caved in and they said, okay, we'll do it. But we're only doing it at selective locations. Selective locations. So that means it's not popular. The movement wasn't that popular to bring it back nationwide. All right. Look, I'm pretty fucking tired because I recorded another all-nighter. So got work in the morning. I hope the Edheads enjoyed this talk. Once again, it's probably just a discombobulated rant because, look, man, I'm tired. I know I probably repeated words 1,000 times, and you guys are probably telling me, get a new fucking vocabulary, dude. Get a dictionary. Open the fucking Webster's dictionary up and learn some words, bro. I'll do that for you guys. I'll expand my vocabulary and shit like that, man. I figured you'd like the off-the-cuff, unfiltered opinion of what I have to say rather than, me trying to sound like I'm on a script and I'm going to say this straightforward and try and talk to you like a news anchor man and tell you the news and what's going on out there today. It seems like it's going to be partly sunny, partly cloudy, and it's going to rain cats and dogs and even turds, and bird shit's going to rain down on your head. Stuff like that, All right, you guys have a good night. White out.